One of the things that the Ukrainians need is more Patriot batteries. There are Patriot batteries available in multiple countries in Europe, yet no one wants to part with them. So I hope that'll change.
Which types were paused?
Huh?
Which types of weapons were paused?
Largely defensive in nature. Some were offensive. But again, the ones that were expended in recent conflicts in the Middle East. And again, not because there is a shortage, but because it's prudent to look at it and say, okay, do we have enough of these in our stockpiles for all of our obligations around the world, both in defense of our bases in the Middle East, but also our obligations to our Indo-Pacific partners. One of the things that the Ukrainians need is more Patriot batteries. There are Patriot batteries available in multiple countries in Europe, yet no one wants to part with them. So I hope that'll change. If in fact that Ukraine is the priority that so many countries in Europe say it is, they should be willing to share batteries that right now they don't have a need to use. So hopefully we'll be able to convince some of our NATO partners to provide those Patriot batteries to Ukraine, because there are a number of countries that have them, but no one wants to part with what they have. So perhaps that'll change. That's important. It's important to note that since January of this year, as an example, just to give you on the Russian side, they've lost 100,000 soldiers, dead. Not injured, I'm talking about dead. And on the Ukrainian side, the numbers are less, but still very significant. And so that's, the president doesn't like wars. He thinks wars are a waste of money and a waste of lives.
Will you meet with your Chinese counterpart here this week
Maybe.
to speak to him about
that? Yeah, I think
that?
we're working on that. Maybe we'll meet, and obviously we'll talk about it. You know, I think the Chinese clearly have been supportive of the Russian effort, and I think that generally they've been willing to help them as much as they can without getting caught. But people in Europe and other parts of the world have noticed. But in the end, this peace, if it's possible and doable, will happen between Ukraine and Russia, and we are willing to do whatever we can to help bring it to an end. What else? That's it?
Are you hopeful on a Gaza ceasefire in the next 2 days?
Well, we're hopeful. I mean, in the end, we're hoping they'll move to proximity talks. It appears that generally the terms have been agreed to, but obviously now you need to have talks about how you implement those terms. And I spoke to Steve Woodcock last night, and he's optimistic that proximity talks will begin fairly soon, expedited and facilitated by the Qataris and the Egyptians. And so, but we've seen talks fall apart in the past at that stage of proximity talks. So I think we're closer, and I think perhaps we're closer than we've been in quite a while, and we're hopeful. But we also recognize there's still some challenges in the way, and one of the fundamental challenges is Hamas's unwillingness to disarm, which would end this conflict immediately. If they just release the hostages, there shouldn't be a single hostage. There shouldn't be a single hostage body still left. If they release that and disarm, this would end.
Are there any sticking points from the Israeli side, such as on aid or the withdrawal of Israeli troops? Where does that stand?
Well, the sticking point would be on the Hamas side. I mean, Hamas basically wants Israel to withdraw completely and allow them to go back to being Hamas. Obviously, the Israelis aren't going to agree to that.